Hello and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Ness. It's my birthday and I like to talk about books. For the past 4 years on my YouTube channel, I've done birthday related content and it's usually a book haul, but I thought this year I would actually do a vlog because I'm trying to be more conscious about reading books and finding life experiences than just buying books and sort of feeding into that like overconsumption. There will definitely be some buying and acquiring of books in this video, so if you're interested mostly in that book haul style, there will be some of that. I'm also going to be talking about some of the books that I'm reading at the moment and what I'm doing for my birthday. I honestly hate my birthday and I've never been shy about that on my channel in the past. Birthdays have not been great for me as a child, and as they've gotten older they're a reminder of the people who aren't around anymore. So I've kind of struggled in the past week leading up to my birthday. I can't believe I'm saying this, I am 31 years old. I am in a body that I no longer recognise because I feel extremely physically old. I have so many aches and pains. I am so tired. Things are so much harder. Just getting up off the floor is so much harder. And although getting old is great and a privilege, I certainly don't enjoy that my body has changed so much in the past year. And I don't know if anyone else feels that way in their 30s. I got a Waterstones voucher from the people at work, so I will need to go on a trip to Waterstones, treat myself to some books. I thought about keeping it for like a double points time, but it's my birthday, I'm gonna treat myself. I've deliberately kept myself out of publishing news because I have such a long TBR. My TBR is like 180 books. So I deliberately have been like, I don't know what's coming out or being published, so I don't go into bookshops anymore because I don't want to spend money on books when I don't need more books. I'm trying to get through the ones that I do have. I already think I have enough books to last me for a lifetime. So going into Waterstones is going to be an interesting experience because I don't have in my mind what I would like to buy. I would quite like to buy maybe Jade War because I do need that, but I can't think of any other sequels that I'm really wanting right now. I'm thinking about treating myself to some sci-fi, maybe something a bit different. Otherwise I'm planning quite a very low-key birthday. So I'm wearing this dress that I bought for £3 from a charity shop. It's a monsoon dress, so an absolute bargain, and I didn't like it at first because I don't wear dresses, but this is really comfortable. Now I know why people wear day dresses. We're going to take Mango for a walk. I'm going to show you the cake that I made. I'm so proud of it. I don't cook or bake, like I'm useless in the kitchen, so I'm so proud of this cake. But I'm mainly going to spend the rest of this week just reading and doing things on my own time, watching Netflix. That's what I want to do on my birthday this year. This time last year I was in Berlin. And I love that city, I absolutely love it, but I did get COVID, which ruined the whole birthday experience. So this year I just want to relax, stay safe, recover mentally and physically. But oh my god, you've got to see this cake. I mean, it might not be edible because I can't cook, but it looks amazing. Look, I know it's messy and other people can do like such amazing things, but this is like my first proper attempt ever at making a birthday cake. This is all beginner stuff. I've never done butter icing before or anything like this, so I think I've done a great job. What I got for my birthday off my first friend, who I love to bits, and you can tell we have kind of like mutual things in common that we really enjoy. I think she did so well for presents. I adore them. I don't think they're everyone's cup of tea though, but they're certainly like my interests. So the first one she got me was this book anthology of poems, and it's titled Poems for Tortured Souls. There's a clear inspiration here. The poems are themed around folklore, love, heartache, revenge and peace. So I'm really excited to read this actually. I don't actually have any poetry, so this is like my first poetry book that I've actually owned. I've only really come into contact with poetry at school. I didn't like it very much, but I think now I'd have a much greater appreciation. I'm actually hoping to like annotate this as well as I go through it, and then I was potentially thinking about, once I've annotated it and read it all, gifting it back to the friend who gave this to me, because she's massively into poetry and she writes her own poetry. So I think it would be nice for her to see like my thoughts back on this as well. Just like a fun thing to do together. Really like this, and looking forward to dipping my toes into poetry. But one of the best presents that I've ever received, honestly, is my main gift. Genuinely, I don't think anybody else would have thought about getting me this, but I actually saw this on the internet and I wanted it so bad, but didn't tell anyone, so that she bought me this was iconic. It's the Twilight soundtrack vinyl. I'm serious, like this is some of the best songs ever. I Caught Myself by Paramore on, which is my most listened to song of all time. Obviously also Decode, iconic. Eyes on Fire by Blue Foundation. Supermassive Black Hole by Muse. Linkin Park. Oh, this is just so good. But the best thing about this, you haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to show you right now. In the sunlight, this is so beautiful. Listening to this on a misty day, unbelievable. So they are the presents that she got me. Absolutely iconic. Taylor and Twilight is literally everything that we talk about. And then on to what I bought myself in Waterstones with my Waterstones voucher. Yeah, I kind of went above and beyond my voucher limit, to be honest. These books I bought with my voucher from work for my birthday, which I'm really grateful for. The first thing I bought was a total wild card. I'd never ever seen this book before, but I really wanted to pick a book up from the horror section, and I got Lost in the Garden by Adam S. Leslie. One, the cover really captivated me, and two, this had a card in it written by a Waterstones employee saying that this was sapphic horror, and like a folky sapphic horror. I looked at the reviews, and the reviews honestly weren't great. I really just wanted to try it. The bit at the top really pulled me in. Like an old wives' tale, like a piece of wisdom passed down through generations, which no one questioned or even thought about too hard. Like folklore, it was just something everyone knew, a rule to be followed. Don't go to Almaby. Set in the English countryside. Gorgeous cover. I'm intrigued. I very rarely buy things in the horror section, and I really wanted to support that, so this is what I ended up with. Then I bought a book which I really wanted. They didn't have the second book in the series that I wanted, so I bought the third book knowing I would want the second book eventually, and spoiler alert, it does come up in this video. I bought myself book 3 of the Greenbone saga because the first book was one of the best books that I've read in many years, and it was a 5-star read and totally blew me out the water, and I knew I really wanted book 2 and 3. So they didn't have book 2 in the shop. I think I know why. But I did get book 3, and it makes me so happy to see that this is such a huge book. This is nearly 700 pages. If it's as good as the first book, I flew through that. It's like 500 pages. I read it in a few days because I was absolutely addicted to it. So I'm very excited to read book 2 and then get to this third book. I'm hoping that it keeps being as good as it is. This could be one of my favourite series of all time if it does. Then I went with a book that I'd seen around. Again, this book is over 800 pages. Oh my god. It's the first binding by R.R. Verdi. I really like the cover. This was in the adult fantasy section. I don't know anything about this at all, but I knew that Illumicrate was selling special editions of this book. I didn't buy one, but I was still intrigued to buy it myself and give it a go. A mesmerising love letter to stories, to the South Asian culture and history that inspired it, and to the fantasy genre as a whole. This is book 1 in a series. Imagine having 800 pages worth of very small text of things to say in your debut novel. This must have took years to write. I've really been enjoying long fantasy books this year though, so that's why I've kind of invested in that. £13 for this much of entertainment is such a bargain if you compare, like, the standard price of a paperback now is £10 and you can get like 300 pages for that. So that's girl math in my head. Cost per entertainment. Right, so the last book that I bought with my voucher was The Wolf of Arinyaro. I've had this book on my Amazon wish list for such a long time that when I saw this I was like, yep, I'm absolutely buying that. This is book 1 in a series called The Chronicles of the Bitch Queen, and I actually found this when I was looking for female written fantasy, and this was a massive recommendation in that genre. They call me the Bitch Queen, the she-wolf, because I murdered a man and exiled my king the night before they crowned me. This is epically high on my TBR. I'm really looking forward to reading this. Let me know if you've read any of these books, especially Lost in the Garden. I've decided that my next read is going to be from the Fairyloot Romantasy subscription because I'm not overly excited about that subscription at the moment. The adult one is still my favourite. I look at the book and I'm like, I probably wouldn't have wanted a special edition of you, and we've had quite a lot of books now, whereas I don't feel the same way with all of the other subscriptions that Fairyloot have had. There's always every other month or every month where I'm like, yes, I've got a special edition of this book that I would have wanted, so I feel really excited about it. I don't get that with the Romantasy at all. So I think I need to read some of the books to see how I feel about the subscription, and I've never doubted a subscription as much as the Romantasy one right now. So I think that is the next book that I'm going to read. So hopefully we finish Love Theoretically today and then we can move on to Nectar of the Gods. Yeah, this is the look. So I've finally finished a book and I now feel amazing. It hasn't been that long actually since I finished my previous book, which was also another romance, so I feel like I'm overdoing it a bit in the romance, but this was good. I gave this a 4 stars. If you haven't read this and you like The Love Hypothesis, I think you would like this. Well, I think I like the main character in this one more, and I definitely like the love interest in this one more, but this one didn't have me like squealing in the way that I thought it would. I'd also heard that this one was spicier than the first one, and I didn't think that was the case at all. I actually thought that the first one had to be a bit more hot and bothered than this one. But this was a good read. It was actually a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. It's 386 pages, so it is a really dense book. A great holiday read, apart from all of the physics parts, which aren't that much. But there was a few moments where I was just like, what is this? What is happening? But it wasn't that much, and it kind of felt like along the same lines of The Love Hypothesis. So if you didn't mind the science in that, then you're not going to mind the science in this. Now I just need to find Nectar of the Gods. I want to make a pizza, and then we're going to start reading that one too. That was actually book 25, so I need to get my skates on because it's now August if we want to finish by the end of the year. So I found Nectar of the Wicked. I realise I've been calling it Nectar of the Gods throughout this, but it's actually Nectar of the Wicked. These are end papers that I don't particularly like, so the edition as a whole I'm not fond of. Yes, it's signed, which is what I really appreciate, but I'm not too attached to it. This is 350-ish pages, so I'm gonna try and finish it maybe by tomorrow night. Nectar of the Wicked has 4 stars on Goodreads, but the reviews are really mixed. Some people are like 5-star in it and others are 1 and 2 stars. There's not really kind of like an in-between. It seems to be you love it or you hate it. I'm going in with quite low expectations, so I'm hoping that I enjoy it. I'm expecting to think that it's okay, but it's not a book that I want a special edition for and to want to get rid of it. I'm now 50 pages down in Nectar of the Wicked. Starting the book was a bit difficult because the writing or editing, it's just different to the books that I have been reading. My last 2 reads were Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur and obviously Ali Hazelwood, and their writing and the job of the editors, it was superb. It was really good. It was detailed when it needed to be detailed. It just read really well. This one is not the same, which is a shame because sometimes I'm like, I'm not quite sure what I'm reading. Sometimes it's not descriptive, so that was quite a struggle getting into the book. I was going to give it 50 pages to see whether I wanted to DNF it or not, but I think I'm going to stick with it and try and push through to the end. Not a lot has happened in 50 pages if I'm honest. There hasn't been much world building either, but that's not to say it's a bad book. I'm now a third of the way in, and this is going to be a spoiler review because I don't think I can talk about how I feel about this book without really going into detail. And obviously I want to give like my full opinions on the books that I get in subscription boxes because my channel predominantly is viewed by people who watch me unbox content for Fairyloot and Illumicrate. So I want to talk as much about those books as possible. Whereas things like Love Theoretically, I don't want to spoil them because they're books that I've bought and that I would recommend, and I would want people to get the same enjoyment out of them as I do. So if people want to choose to find out more information about them, they can go and look at that. But I don't like to be spoiled just randomly watching a vlog. But for Nectar of the Wicked, I'm going to do so. Not a lot has happened. The main character is nameless, but her keeper, I don't really know what the right word for it is, called her Flea. We know that this character is a changeling from the realm of Fae originally, and she's now living in this middle world, which is a mix of humans and Fae together. The humans have their own kingdom and the Fae have their own kingdom, and this middle land is kind of like everybody. And that is all that this unknown main character knows. I guess we need to keep calling her Flea, even though I really don't like that. So that's all that Flea knows, and what she wants is to go back to O2. I don't actually know if she's going back. I don't know where she was born. She wants to go to the Fae realm because she has some questions that she wants answers to, but we don't actually know what the questions are as of yet. She's now 20 and she's been living with Rolina, and Lorena had a daughter herself of the same age who was taken. Flea and Rolina will go to an event called the Wild Hunt, which is where the Fae come, I guess. That's my understanding of it, once a year to trade. So they're going to go there and they're going to try and trade Flea for Rolina's daughter. Rolina is killed at this event and Flea is now free. This all happens very quickly within the first like 20 pages of the book. Flea goes back to the house that she's living with Rolina, and Rolina's madam turns up and says that rent is due, and also Rolina owed the madam a lot of money, and this is now Flea's debt. Flea, being an inexperienced virgin, is like, no, I'm not going to go and work in your brothel, but ends up doing so. And her client, when she turns up, is the king of one of the 4 Fae realms. No, sorry, one of the 4 kingdoms in the Fae realm. The king comes back a few times. There's some spicy scenes, I would say like light to moderate spice scenes, which were just kind of like meh. And then he basically says, do you want to be my wife and my queen? And that's where I'm up to. She's now whisked away by him. She spends so long being like, how do I get into this Fae realm, only to basically have him teleport her. There's really limited world building. There was some mention of wars and things, but it was actually kind of boring to be reading about that. And I'm a heavy political fantasy reader, so I was just kind of like, so that I wasn't interested in that was a bit of a shock to me. I kind of expected that we would have this level of detail like a fifth of the way into a book. I kind of feel like this book might end up one of those books where there is smut and then there's set dressing around the smut, and that's what the later books of From Blood and Ash fall into. The first one definitely had a bit of plot to it and I was enjoying the plot, but then the later books just became smutty scenes with set dressing. I actually really like that series and I do read them. They are like my guilty pleasure. The thing about those books From Blood and Ashes, there was enough character development and plot introduction and world building for me to actually be invested in the character before they were just going to throw smutty scenes at me. But I already know from what I've read of this book that I would not have wanted a special edition of this, and I certainly wouldn't have paid that much money for this book. But that is what a subscription is all about. It's about trying different things, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just not sure if the romantasy subscription is for me. I think the adult subscription still includes books with romantic elements, and that would be enough. I don't know if necessarily books where smut is the driving force behind the book is my thing, and I'm definitely not knocking it. I am so happy when people read books and enjoy books, whatever that book might be. So this will be for someone. Please don't think that I'm knocking your taste or your style or anything. So I need to think more carefully about the types of books that I do buy. And this is an expensive subscription for books that I might not enjoy. I think I would describe my taste in media in general like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. They are like peak media for me, and actually The Mummy. The Mummy and the Pirates of the Caribbean series, the first 3. It's an epic adventure. There's so much going on. There's folklore, there's magic, and it's in a very unique setting. There's bits of history in there as well, and there is an unbelievable romantic storyline between two characters that I absolutely love, which against all odds end up together. But their romance is not the only storyline that's going on, and actually the adventure is just as big as the romance. So I think what I'm trying to say really is I like that epic fantasy element with romance, and I'm not sure that we're going to get that from the Romantasy subscription. This is why I will never be an author, because I'm so bad at putting my feelings into words, because I feel like I've just explained this so poorly. I've just actually remembered about something which was super exciting, which I forgot all about because this arrived when Mango was really unwell and I just shoved it in the wardrobe, but I can't believe I forgot about this. It's a folklore cardigan. I haven't even opened it. I was going to open it with you and then I just forgot. I have the red cardigan, Speak Now, in 1989, and I've always wanted the actual folklore cardigan, so when they brought this out on the birthday, I was getting it. Feels like the Speak Now cardigan, which I'm happy with because that was the most comfy to me, and it's actually the one that I wear the most because it's just more cozy. I never know how to style the 1989 one, but I did wear the red one to the Eras tour. I got a size extra small to small medium. Oh, this is comfy. So I am a size 8 to 10 and this fits me really well for a cardigan, if not still a little bit baggy. I actually adore this. This is my favourite cardigan. I don't know how I'm going to wash this though. I feel like I need to give you a better angle. Really, really well made compared to the 1989 ones. I just don't know how I'm going to wash this. That's the thing about these. I don't want to wear them because I'm so scared of damaging them in the wash. It's 6 o'clock and I'm on track to actually finish this book by tonight, and I've been thinking about what I want my next read to be. I actually want to try and read a good chunk of The God and the Gumiho for this vlog, because when I unboxed this I was not going to keep this because I wasn't interested in it, but everyone in the comments convinced me to read it and everyone said this was really good, so I'd like to read a little bit of this so I can give thoughts on what I think of the start of this at least. Hoping to read about 50 pages of this. I really need something good to read after reading Nectar of the Wicked. I'm not gonna lie, it hasn't picked up at all. I have so many high priority books on my shelves right now that I want to read. It's so hard picking something to read because there's like 50 of them which I'm dying to get to. I wish I could just absorb them all at once in my brain. I have had 3 hours sleep because of Mango and back pain. And I'm really mad at myself because I realised I could have finished Nectar of the Wicked through the night. Stupid things on Spotify, audiobook on premium. So I've finished Nectar of the Wicked. This was a really quick read, but I didn't enjoy this. This was actually the worst romantasy book that I've ever read. It was not worth getting to the end, and I know that there's sequels of this book and I don't want to read them. So yeah, this was a really disappointing read. This was not a good introduction to the Romantasy subscription for me. It was really predictable. It felt really shallow, like the characters and the world felt shallow. Relationships felt really shallow. I didn't like this book. I'm getting rid of this and I will not be looking back. I'm really worried about my next read from the Romantasy subscription. It needs to be good. I met up with Rebecca Reads for my birthday as well. She's actually my best friend in real life. She's more active now on TikTok, so I'll leave her TikTok information in a pinned comment. She also got me some birthday gifts as well. She got me this mug. You can see there's like a very clear theme. Taylor Swift, books and Twilight. She also got me like a glass tumbler as well, which I leave at work because it says I cry a lot but I am so productive. And I think my team appreciate that. The books that she got me for my birthday is Jade War. This is probably why I couldn't find this book in Waterstones. So this one is book 2. And she also got me Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, which I've actually started and I'm really enjoying. This is the first Cassandra Clare book that I've read. This is her first adult novel and we got this in Fairyloot actually in the adult subscription, but I just prefer reading paperbacks more. Like I would never have read that this year in hardback, but because I have it in paperback I've started reading this and I've noticed that a lot about my reading habits and it's starting to worry me. I'm probably gonna sell the adult edition and use the funds towards the Illumicrate one because I like that one more. This is currently sitting at like a 4.5 out of 5-star read. I was amazingly surprised with how much I like this book. But I'm not going to talk about it too much now because I want to talk about this like in its own little vlog. What I wanted to do for my birthday with Rebecca was go to our favourite bookshop in Alnwick, which is called Barter Books. You can take your own paperback or hardback books in. They accept 20 paperbacks a month. Is it a month or a week? The information's on their website and they accept 10 hardback books. I think it might be a week. And then they'll offer you in-store credit, which you can use to buy some new books. So I took in 20 paperback books. I think I got about £20 and I spent that on 5 books. So, you know, I think it's an okay like rate. So the first book that I saw and picked up was The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. This came in Illumicrate, but I did sell my Illumicrate edition. This is a Daphne Press publications. Hemlock Falls isn't like any other town. You won't find it on a map, your phone won't work here, and the forest outside town might kill you. This sounds like a book that I read and I really didn't like, and I can picture the cover, but the name of it just won't come to mind. Winnie Wednesday's father was exposed as a traitor, and on her 16th birthday, she can take the deadly luminary hunter trials and restore her family's good name or die trying. This really, really sounds like a book that I read and didn't like, so if this can redeem that kind of storyline for me, then I guess that's good, but I'm nervous about this. It's probably going to be really low on my TBR given my experience with this other book that I can't remember the name of, it's killing me. I also got books 2 and 3 in the Mirror Visitor series. I have book 1 and I've had book 1 for a very long time and never read it, but these covers have always really intrigued me. I just thought, like, I'm never going to find these secondhand again, so I might as well pick them up with my credit. They're probably going to sit on my shelves for a very long time. One of the things on the back says a steampunk Pride and Prejudice. If you've read this series, would you actually describe it as that? Because I didn't realise that was the comparisons people could make about this. But yeah, we'll see how long these sit on my shelves. I also picked up The Girl in the Tower, which is the sequel of The Bear and the Nightingale, but I didn't realise I already have this book. I thought I didn't, and I did. And you know, that's when you're getting too many books, when you forget which books you own. Felt great shame about this because this is the second time that it's happened this year, and also the second time that it's ever happened. So obviously my bookcase is getting uncontrollable and I need to do something about that, because this also happened with Heartstopper Volume 4. That was this summer, and then The Girl in the Tower for this shopping trip. So I need to get rid of books. I need to really cull my collection, but this can just go back to trade-in for credit the next time that I go. Best pick, the one that I'm the most happy with, also in like brand new condition, so super excited, is The Last House on Needless Street. This is a Waterstones exclusive edition. The horror section in Barter Books is always incredibly small, and it's mainly just Stephen King and like smutty paranormal books that were like published in the noughties. I always check that section after the fantasy section, which is also kind of small, but I've never really found any gems, and for all of the years that I've been going, this is like the first proper gem that I found. This is the story of a murderer, a stolen child, revenge. This is the story of Ted, who lives with his young daughter Lauren and his cat Olivia in an ordinary house at the end of an ordinary street. All these things are true, and yet some of them are lies. An unspeakable secret binds the family together, and when a new neighbour moves in next door, the truth may destroy them all, because there's something buried in the dark forest at the end of Needless Street, but it's not what you think. I'm very tempted to add this to my October TBR, so that was what I got from Barter Books, so I consider that like a really successful trip. 5 books, even though one of them needs to go back. We also popped into Waterstones in the Merit Centre on the way home, and I had £10 of Waterstones credit because I'd already been on that Waterstones shopping trip with my £40 voucher. So I picked up Gentlest of Wild Things by Sarah Underwood, and this edition is absolutely gorgeous. It was £15, but then I had £10 credit, so like I paid a £5 for this, which is why I picked it up. It's also signed with really beautiful end papers. It's just like an all-round beautiful edition. We got Lies We Sing to the Sea. Was it late last year or early this year? Honestly, time just is flying. And we got that in Illumicrate. This matches the Illumicrate edition kind of, because it's like all really shiny. On the island of Zakynthos, nothing is more powerful than desire, love itself, bottled and sold to the highest bidder by Leandros, a powerful, hungry descendant of Eros, god of love. Basically, the main character has a twin sister, and Leandros' wife dies mysteriously, and he wants to marry her twin sister. but she's determined to keep her sister safe, and she makes a bargain with Leandros. If she can complete 4 elaborate tasks he sets her, then he'll look for a different bride. So that is all of the books that I've acquired for like my birthday, but I really need to be making some room on my shelves, so I'm gonna go have a look and see what I can get rid of. Getting rid of Nothing But Blackened Teeth. I have read this. This is a really short horror, but I rated this 1 star. I really didn't like this. It read really poorly and there wasn't a lot of plot and it was really predictable. Yeah, I didn't like this at all. Read this, I was kind of bored of it. I have a history degree and I usually kind of like non-fiction. I bought this in a charity shop for £1 and yeah, I DNF'd this. See Swear by Megan Brandy. Rebecca bought me this for Christmas and I read it. I rated this 3 stars. It was like a typical coming of age romance story, but I'm not going to read this again. Like, I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't read it again. Project Hail Mary, another one that I've read. I rated this 3 stars. I wouldn't read it again. This was a really good book by Andy Weir, but I did prefer The Martian. There is kind of like alien life on this one, which at first I couldn't get away with. Like, I really liked it up until the alien introduction. Then I really, really didn't like it, but then I got used to it and thought, you know, this is kind of a novelty. So yeah, would recommend that for fans of sci-fi. Haven't read that. Getting rid of that for obvious reasons. Malibu Rising, another one I read this year. It was a 3 star. I've read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and that's one of my favourite novels. Also, Daisy Jones and the Six is one of my favourite novels, but this one just missed the mark for me. This is How You Lose the Time War, another really short science fiction novel. This has so much hype about it, and I went into this kind of with high expectations. I rated this 2 stars. It was just lost on me, I think. I didn't like this. Wouldn't read it again. Forces of Nature by Brian Cox. I really love Brian Cox. I like to watch his documentaries, so I bought this because I've watched nearly everything Brian Cox and space and physics. I don't know, I'm in 2 minds about keeping this or not. I have so much to read, I don't know. I might have a look of sections of this today while I'm cooking and things and then get rid of that, but I don't think I would read the whole thing. Twisted Love, another 3 star read that I read this year. I'm not going to continue on with this series, so I'm going to get rid of this. This was just okay. I'd read better, and there is too many romance series that I've started this year that I want to finish. This is not one of them. The Mercies, unfortunately, I did DNF this. I didn't think this book was for me, but I really wanted to read more things by Kieran. Still an author that I have so much respect for, and I really liked the sound of this. This is set in historical Norway, and it's about an island that find themselves all women because the men of the island die in a shipwreck in a storm. It's based on real life events, so I thought that I would absolutely love this, and I actually just got bored of this within like the first 50 pages. I think her other books are more for me, so I'm going to get rid of this, unfortunately. Smoke in the Sun, I'm actually getting rid of book 1 as well, but keeping this for a little bit. I read the first book and I rated it 4 stars. I just didn't like it enough to continue reading the duology. I think this is like the 2nd and final book. I did just read like a synopsis of what happened in this book, even though I loved the first one, but I just have too many books to read. The Last Graduate by Naomi Novak. I got rid of the first one as well. I don't know why I have this, if I'm honest. I think this is the sequel, yeah, Lesson 2, so yeah. Didn't even read the first one. Getting rid of it. And I accidentally bought this twice when I saw the second hand. I thought I needed the 4th one. Actually, I need the 5th one. I have like a solid pile of books that I read this summer, but I'm keeping them for now because I want to talk about them in a wrap-up, but then I'll be getting rid of them. My wet hair is absolute chaos. I'm just finishing this vlog up and I feel really proud of myself for actually getting through a vlog. I've filmed so many of them in the past, and then I've always just had a problem with the way I've looked without makeup on. I've not liked my voice or things like that, so I have hours upon hours worth of vlogs which I've edited and then I've just not been able to upload. So fingers crossed this actually ends up on the internet. I feel like I've been out of vlogging for so long, I'm just trying to like dip my toes back in. So this is like my return to vlogging tester, and I'm really looking forward to having that confidence and that familiarity again going into my Halloween vlog, which I'm super excited about. Overall, my birthday was as uneventful as I wanted it to be, and I love that. I did treat myself as a birthday present to me. I got a ticket to see Hans Zimmer live next year in Manchester. I was obsessed with Hans Zimmer as a child from the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack, so I'm hoping he does it. I have been reading The God and the Gummy Whore, and everybody is so right. This is a book that's worth keeping. I've only read about 30 to 40 pages of it, but it's definitely more me than Nectar of the Wicked was, so I'm keeping it. It's so much better written and I'm enjoying the character introductions, but I am going to put it back on my shelves because it doesn't quite fit in with my TBR plans right now. I really want to finish Swordcatcher, and I'm thinking about saving The God and the Gummy Whore for an upcoming TBR project. So that's it from me, from my first vlog in a very long time. If you've watched this all the way through, please let me know and I would be eternally grateful. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!